Today, we're going to talk about why loving has become disposable. Why an I love you lasts less than a cell phone battery. One day, you're everything in someone's life. The next, you're just a contact, often blocked without any explanation. There's a problem here where you think sometimes that love has ended. You get so tired that you think sometimes that there's no one decent left, right? But in reality, it's that you've entered the cycle of off-the-shelf love. You're trying to build something eternal in a world that teaches you that everything, including people, is made to be discarded. I know many stories of people who are very tired of this disposal in love, of games that never end, right? And I know an answer for you who wants to leave this meaningless place for a place of true affection. And I know this answer works because I've already helped hundreds of women in my sessions. If you don't know me, I'm Léia Carvalho, a psychotherapist for over 20 years, specializing in neuroscience, CBT, and psychoanalysis. And in this video, I'll show you why loving has become this game of disposal most of the time, and how you can step out of this display case to finally be loved for who you are and not for what you offer. I want you to pay attention to what I'm going to tell you. We live in the era of the next. It's the next video, the next song, the next match. And this has created in everyone's head what I call the anxiety of the next tab. The reason why relationships are so liquid today is because you stop looking at people as human beings and start looking at them as catalog profiles. When you allow yourself to enter this dynamic of looking at others as catalog profiles, you also become a product. And products have an expiration date and heavy competition. Do you notice the dynamic that happens? Look, you're not suffering because you're unlucky in love. You're suffering because you're trying to plant a tree on asphalt. Now stop and think about this phrase. Liquid relationships have no roots. They have coexistence. Do you know what that means in practice? It means the other person isn't with you for who you are, but for what you deliver just in that moment. Just like an app you use while it's useful, right? And delete from your phone if the memory gets full. There's no depth because there's no intention to build. And when there are no roots, any little wind, any breeze is a reason to leave, you see? If someone discards you as if you were a used object, your first instinct is to look in the mirror and ask, what is wrong with me? Where did I go wrong? That is the feeling. You start thinking right away that if you had a different body, maybe if your face were prettier, or if your hair were like this, or if you were smarter, the other person would stay and not leave. But there is something very important. Listen to what I am going to tell you. The other person's rejection is not a diagnosis of your lack of value, understand? It is the opposite. It is not about you, it is about him. It is an X-ray of his emotional emptiness. A person who lives on liquid love is like someone who drinks seawater to quench their thirst. This person is always looking for the next wave, the next novelty, because they can't handle the silence of having a real connection with someone. They feel a huge void, but they can't sustain a real connection. They discard you because they don't have the structure within them to sustain the intensity of a real woman. They prefer the shelf, right? Because on the shelf everything is easy, superficial, it doesn't require them to grow, to learn, there's no risk of suffering. The turning point, when you can understand that the problem is the other person's inability to be deep and not your lack of beauty, charm, intelligence, when you understand that, something important happens. You stop trying to be more attractive, to be more beautiful, and you start being, you know what, more selective. You raise your level of choice. You stop wasting your valuable energy trying to fit yourself onto someone else's shelf, and instead, you start to carefully observe if the other person actually has a firm and steady floor for you. You know, a foundation that can truly support your roots. You stop being the prey, trying to please, and become the curator of your own life because you no longer want to be someone's chosen one. You are not an object to be chosen. You want to be the woman who only opens the gate to her garden for those who prove they know how to care for your flowers and not just keep coming in to pick and pull the flowers, understand? But this is just the surface, okay, of what I'm talking about. For most of women, they think the problem is the character of men. But there's a silent trap in the way we communicate that's destroying any chance of a real connection. Why do people discard something that is valuable? They don't. They only discard what is very abundant, what is easy to replace. Everything that you find easily and can replace easily can also be discarded. So, what is the fatal mistake that's making you be treated as disposable? It's that you're infinitely available. Deep down, you think that if you really please them, if you're too nice, if you're always there, if you accept everything, the other person will value you. But the problem is that the human brain doesn't value what has no cost. If it's easy, the other person doesn't value it. When you become a guaranteed option, you stop being a priority and become a spare tire. And what happens to the spare tire? We only use it when the main one goes flat, when the main tire goes flat, and then we put it back in the trunk as soon as we solve the problem. Look at me. You're not a plan B, you're not anyone's comfort while they figure their life out. The truth is that people only value you if you demand it. They don't give you the value you deserve. When you start saying no to what's lukewarm, you open up space for what, For what's hot. And how do we get out of this display window? Let's stop being a product, right? Let's stop being shelf love. How do you do that? The secret lies in your change of posture, which almost no one tells you. The world wants you to believe that if you're not perfect, you'll be replaced. That's the biggest lie there is. That's a lie to keep you insecure. Consuming things and relationships too. But that's not even the most important part. The real secret isn't in being better than other people. The secret is in being unique, okay? So first step, stop competing. When you enter the energy of competing for someone, you've already accepted right then that you're a product on sale. So I'll tell you, first of all, get off the shelf. If the person is in doubt between you and someone else, make it easy for them. Let them stay with the other one. Queens don't compete for attention. Queens command. You have to understand this and value yourself. Second, set the price for intimacy. Your time, your body, and your heart have a high price. And that price isn't money. It's emotional investment. So you won't give a banquet to someone who's only offering you crumbs. If someone wants your presence, they have to earn it. They have to invest time and effort for that. Third, be your own source of validation. Love only becomes disposable when you need someone else to feel alive. If you already feel complete, another's love is a compliment, not the oxygen you depend on to survive. And you know what happens? People are terrified of losing someone who doesn't need them to be happy. Seriously, this isn't a game, it's a reality. If you value yourself and don't depend on others to be happy, they notice and become afraid of losing you. That's what creates that true emotional bond. And when you apply these 3 steps I brought to you, something important happens. Your world stops being a product clearance sale and becomes a curated collection. I'll tell you now, the sign that you've moved from that clearance sale to a better place. Do you know the sign that you're no longer disposable? It's when you stop being afraid of being alone, truly. When you lose the fear of the void, you become dangerous to the disposable system. People, they feel that you're not for sale, that you're not on a tray, being offered to just anyone. The reason you'll attract solid relationships instead of shallow ones from now on isn't because the world changed, the world stays exactly the same. It's because you changed your standard of acceptance. So listen to what I'm going to tell you. It's very important. Solid love exists, but it only flourishes in those who have the courage to be real in a world of filters. When you choose yourself, you teach the world to choose you too. You step off the shelf and take your rightful place, which is the place of a rare and valuable woman who won't be treated just anyway. Stop accepting shallow loves. You deserve depth. You deserve roots. You deserve someone who doesn't want to replace you, but is afraid of losing you. And if you genuinely think that this video made sense to you, please leave a comment, click the bell, and share it with others to help so many other people out there who surely need it very much. All right, my dear, I'll see you in the next video. Kisses.